Hi Instas, happy Monday Moon Day. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome too. Do consider subscribing if you like what I do, and check out the description box below to get in touch if you'd like a private reading. I'm a spiritual astrologer. I work with the seasons, and my style is like I don't try to tell you what to do or what to believe or to believe that you need to evolve even. I'm a bit more interested, my approach is a bit more interested in who and what we are spiritually, naturally, and how in touch we are with that, with our static and our dynamic selves. Anyway, yes, we have Venus already in Leo, marking the period June 27th to July 21st, 2021. And so I'm continuing with this video, our Streams of Creme Brulee series, where we focus exclusively on Venus and the part Venus is playing now in the cosmic conversation, in the divine dance. So do check out my previous episodes, if you like, on this series for more on Venus generally, and what Venus has been up to the last few seasons of this astro year. I'd like us also to pay interest to, just quickly, Venus's conjunction with Mars in Leo, which will really most powerfully, I think, span July 8th to July 18th. A conjunction, by the way, being when two planets or more than two get very close, or even on top of, from our perspective, on top of each other, really bringing together a much stronger vibration, and one characterized by a mixture of the different planets' energies that are involved in the conjunction. By the way, you can check out my Mars in Leo video as well, as Mars is playing more of a dominant role, I feel, at this stage. But what is Leo, briefly then? Well, Leo is fixed fire, so it's different to Aries, which is cardinal fire, and different to Sagittarius, which is double-bodied fire. And fire, as we might imagine, is about lots of things, like expression, imagination, action, passion, visions, creativity, and so on. So with Leo, we get fixations on expression, fixations on imagination, and so on, which are not easily changed, these fixations often. And that can be for the good, the bad, or the ugly. You know, a Leo rising individual, for example, you can meet them after quite a long time and they could still look or feel pretty much like they did the last time you met them. Or they could express themselves pretty much in the same way without that many changes, you know. Leo also is all kinds of cat, especially the more outward cats, like lions, but also like house cats. You know, Leo is also constancy, adoration, reliable attitudes or catitudes, and also predictable ones, you know, predictable attitudes. Leonite energy is glorious, it's victorious as well. So with Venus in Leo, this time as well, this time around, this astro year, we pay attention to the ruler of Leo, which right now is in Cancer, because the sun is in Cancer, so the sun being the ruler of Leo. Let me try to share my screen. Hopefully this works. And yeah, that's working. Okay, grand. So hopefully you can see this. But yeah, the sun is in Cancer, and so Venus starts to turn our vibe into something Leonite, but with appreciation of Cancerian themes. And this definitely speaks loud and clear to me of familial passion. And as I always say, family is however it's construed or imagined or made for you, but there is a building up of the familial, of intimate ignition, and a lot of pride is injected into our families and our ideas of family and our family homes and roots and all this sort of thing. But also there is drama amidst the pride, and we have to sort of watch out for self-sabotage. And I've been getting the messages when channeling for this video of being careful about how we pursue or re-pursue our roots or ideas about our roots. It can embarrass some of us. And I talked about this a bit in a previous video, but it can lead us into futile futures we imagined being something, or that they would be something, but which slap us sort of cold in the face. And we don't want to be sort of tumbling over too much this year in this metal ox year. We want to be steady and just, keep my Fitbit is really crazy. It's just telling me I've completed my 10,000 steps, but I'm just moving my hand. Anyway, that futile slap in the face that we get sometimes when we pursue some overly imagined or hoped for future, and especially when it has some sort of familial theme or tinge or path. Anyway, there will be, even though we're supposed to be fixating in this metal ox year on the lanes that we're in, that we're stepping into for some of us. Maybe some of us are not in the lane yet, but we're stepping into it. There's still going to be ego with Leonite energy, and there will be some of us who sabotage ourselves by trying to fight too passionately for something which is actually based on a sense of familial forlornness or abandonment. And I'm not only talking about this life stuff, but also past lives and all that we inherit and carry, from our ancestors. And our ancestors do guide us in this life through throwing us into repeated patterns so that we can sometimes nip a cosmic slip up in the bud. But often we don't want to see what mistake we keep making. We don't like to think that we're doing exactly what our parents did, which we swore as little kids that we'd never ever do. And Venus will potentially make us beat and gush with all that pride, feeling too passionately stuck on some opinion or feeling, because sometimes we choose to lash out, right, when wounded, instead of learning how to tend to our wounds and to take time with them too. So the Venus and Cancer transit hopefully was getting us there, but if it didn't this time around, then the Venus and Leo transit can make it a bit more difficult for us, where we have more of that lashing out, where everyone else is the problem or everything else is the problem. But you can see that there's a problem with that, right? And Cancer season is the first watery season. It's a big tearing up energy that always washes over us. And some of us are being asked by our ancestors, yes, to tear ourselves away from some trauma or pattern of self-undoing even. But Cancerian energy, it sticks as well, just like Leonite energy, really. And we just don't want to leave the rotten shell sometimes, or we can't help but trip ourselves up again. And all this Leonite energy that's increasing can turn us into really stubborn bulls, and very quickly. But the warning here is that any fixation this year is going to last a long while. So I feel we have to resist the temptation to, for example, read people for filth, even though Venus and Leo will very, 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 very strongly urge us to push at others with such confidence. Love does conquer all sometimes, and we do have to learn, especially in this ox year, how to let water go under the bridge, how to play silly in certain ways as well, and just deal with what I call in-law spirits, that colleague or relative you would rather not, but have to deal with regularly. Or maybe it's yourself that you're having to put up with. Either way, we can just try to see the good in others ourselves, like Leonite people who know themselves do so well. They cast that light on others to complement when and where they can, to just adore, because life often is just about adoration. Adoring the fact that you're alive and your heart is beating and there are things to be happy about and to rejoice. Or, at best, to just have fun with this life, and to keep whatever you can as light as possible, even though a Cancer season is definitely not light with us at times. We still have Mercury in Gemini though. So there's lots of power still in controlling what you tell yourself, and really thinking, remembering that words really do have a lot of power, and watching how, when you control what you tell yourself, that really does tend to change your mood and attitude. Maybe not overnight. With affirmation and with repetition, it does. The brain does change. And eventually your circumstances change, or at least your comfort with your current situation can change quite dramatically. Some of us also, as is always with Leonite energy, are going to be facing the music. And I think this is in some familial or ancestral sense. Again, what do we need to tear ourselves from? I myself, I'm realizing that I've put myself in romantic relationships sometimes out of desperation and fear of being alone, seeing myself alone in some future. I was even told once, I remember this at a party years ago, we were playing a game, and someone said to me in front of people, pointing at me, "You will die alone." And that kind of thing can really become the future that we imagine. And that can be something that we have to tear ourselves from, when we see ourselves, for example, alone in some future, or in some rotten shell, not just of the past, put it in the future as well, when really I, for example, just needed to be focusing on myself first, and rootedness and stability for myself, so that I didn't ever have to rely on the wrong person or the wrong environment out of that desperation or that fear of the imagined future. And we have to be careful with the rotten shells that we imagine ourselves in or carrying, like a crab, a hermit crab, especially in our futures, because this is Cancer season. And a lot of astrologers talk about Cancerian energy and fear. This word fear, how an elephant, a huge animal, is supposed to fear a tiny mouse, right? The elephant, as I've said before, is very Cancerian and very important this year as well, in that we have to pay attention not just to ancestral inheritance, but what role we as this life individuals are playing in the continuation of or destabilizing of certain aspects of that inheritance. It's not easy. And it hurts like hell to tear ourselves from deep, deep emotional paths we've been digging ourselves into for God knows how long. So yes, facing music and really making, for some of us, some brave, confident commitment to something familial right now. Some of us will no doubt be flaunting our talents as well, and not even consciously necessarily. It can just be a time when what you're good at starts to shine extremely brightly and you get accolades or attention or whatever. I think also that for those of us in those dramatic disputes, let's say, there can be some dignity brought about now with Venus in Leo, and even for some displays of benevolence towards your enemies, or those who, those people who just like to rebel against you for the sake of it. Some people have an odd rebellious behavior that comes actually from a space of jealousy or admiration or envy or whatever. And Leo will bring that out in buckets, especially when Leo season proper comes. But anyway, it will show us bright as day who just can't take you, or who just wants to be you even, and who is still choosing to be stuck in their own personal miseries for whatever complex array of reasons. But right now, with Venus and Leo, I just think it's a time to cherish people, to cherish ourselves, to cherish the situations we're in, wherever, whenever we can. Again, it's not easy, but I see us sort of like kissing the head of others spiritually as well. We just have to be particularly careful that we're worshiping, if we are going to go down that worshiping route, that we worship that which truly resonates with us. And I don't believe in worship, actually. I believe more in guiding lights that you apply or follow as and when you need. But if you are choosing to worship someone or something, then just make sure that it's something that you resonate with. and not something that we idolize because we want to become them or become it or eat it. Cancerian energy brings a lot of this eating each other type of energy, sticking to each other and like creating lots of, it's 69 energy, right? Lots of spiritual symbiotic relations. There can be this strong, wild, even level of neediness that crops up now. And of course, with Venus and Leo, there can be a lot of talking about ourselves. With Mercury also being behind these planets in Gemini, we might need to just watch how much we say, because there will likely be a bigger audience than we expect now. So, any lies that we're telling right now, well, they do get lots of opportunity now to grow, to get quite dramatic and showy, which can definitely build up like a tumor, build up to something that we don't want to keep up anymore. Leo appearances, Leo Aquarius's axis is all about appearances and fixating on those appearances quite often. So be careful. And with Jupiter retrograde in Pisces right now, too, and Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, as I've been talking about quite a bit, there's a lot potentially of room for exploring our self-sabotaging tendencies and why we like to ruin perfect or seemingly perfect things. It's this weird little human thing we like to do sometimes. Venus and Leo can, if understood well now, really help us beat with a pure and true love for something or someone, can be hobby, whatever. And if the emotional stuff is pruned properly, it really can remain something long-lasting and strong, if that's what we want. Venus in Leo is, of course, also very sexy, very showy. It's a fixation on that sexiness. And so I'm not surprised that lots of us are expressing who or what we have a hot crush on. And the heat is in the beat now. Those feelings, but just remember, fixation is even thicker in this ox year. So Leo season is going to be, when Leo season comes, one of those big seasons for fixation to really, really, really set in. But anyway, those feelings, when Venus was in Cancer even, those feelings can really sizzle over and burst into kind of like hot showers. I'm just imagining, on Instagram, where you like Instagram Live, where you like someone with the hearts and you get all the multicolored hearts coming up, those things. Love, love, love. That's kind of how I'm imagining Venus in Leo and how it's going to, especially when Venus conjuncts Mars, how it's going to manifest for a lot of us. But anyway, it really is an easy time to just love and give, to give light to others, if and when we're secure, not just in ourselves, but in the spiritual bedrock that we're walking on. And there could be a bit of too much information, too, oversharing to showcase something, because Leo, of course, is about performance, showcase type energy. You can't miss it. And it might appear to others to be a bit incessant, like, when you look at the sun too long, who wants to do that? Venus does often also sweeten and soften things out. So there can be a diffusing actually of hyper-egoic actions, tendencies, dramas again. And there can also be a stronger feeling of loyal relations. And with all this Cancerian energy, we can get mushy and gushy about those who have stuck, with us for the long haul. Again, it's about family roots, massive patterns that have been going on for ages. And Leo is ruled by the sun. So we're getting more of an emphasis of solar focus. And so ceremonies to the sun are good at this time, appreciating the summer in the Northern Hemisphere. Even ceremonies to happiness and fun and song and dance, revelry. And of course, Leo is about the head, the hair, literally often, but also spiritually speaking, because it's about your crown, your aura, your halo, and the power gained from realizations and illuminations. That's what the sun's about. All that has come to light for you in your life up to this point that we can now carry with us as knowledge to keep us strong and constant in those more dramatic testing times. And as I've been saying, Venus in Leo will add to this need to feel out how we want to show up in the world, which is hard often, but necessary. Do we want to be that catty individual on the offensive, or do we want to harness quiet strength? Quite likely it's going to be a bit of both, because we're on this Cancer Leo sort of crossover, which isn't easy. And I really think that in this ox year, we have to let God take care of things, as the expression goes, let God take care of them. Overall, I feel that there's a sort of regal reciprocity possible here in relation to ourselves and others, which values honor how we're giving and how we're giving back, where there's just enough room for different types of divine respect to be flowing, but not so much that arrogance takes over. Jupiter retrograde in Pisces again, we are going over our blessings and assessing the point of any hubris we've possessed or will come to possess, maybe. I think it's just a great time to vibe with fun, fierce, sort of proud Leonite energy that beats with dedication and pure, passionate love for people and things, for ourselves. Anyway, I've rambled on enough. I'll see you hints this next time. And please let me know where Venus will be transiting in your birth chart. It's going to be in my first, second, and third houses. So anyway, yeah, wishing you all safe and well. I love you very, very much.